The white walls of the Nevada Quantum Research Facility gleamed under the harsh desert sun. Inside the main laboratory, Dr. Peter Mason stared at his computer screen, his coffee growing cold beside him. The numbers didn't make sense. According to the readings, their latest quantum entanglement experiment had created something impossible. "Hey, John, can you look at this?" He called out to his colleague, John Carter, who was adjusting equipment across the room. "These readings show a spatial anomaly, but that can't be right." John walked over, his lab coat swishing as he moved. He leaned over Peter's shoulder, his eyes widening as he looked at the data. "That's strange. The quantum particles aren't just entangled. They're creating some kind of tunnel effect." "A tunnel through what?" Peter asked, though he already had a suspicion. His heart started beating faster as he considered the implications. "Through space itself," John whispered. He grabbed a chair and sat down, pulling up more data on his tablet. "Look at these energy signatures. It's like we've punched a microscopic hole in the fabric of space-time." The laboratory door slid open with a soft hiss. Commander Lisa Wright walked in, her military uniform a stark contrast to the scientists' white lab coats. She had been assigned as their military liaison 6 months ago, and while some researchers were uncomfortable with military oversight, Peter had found her insights valuable. "Gentlemen," she said, nodding to them both, "why do I feel like I just walked in on something important?" Peter and John exchanged glances. "Commander," Peter said carefully, "I think we just accidentally discovered a way to create stable wormholes. Very, very small ones, but still." Lisa's expression remained neutral, but her eyes sharpened with interest. "Show me." Over the next hour, they ran the experiment again. In the center of their quantum containment field, a tiny point of darkness appeared, no bigger than a grain of sand. The instruments showed it connected to another point exactly 10 meters away, in a second containment field. "It's stable," John said, amazement clear in his voice. "The power requirements are high, but nothing like what theoretical models predicted. And look at the quantum signature. It's virtually undetectable unless you know exactly what to look for." Lisa watched the readings with growing excitement, though her military training kept her expression controlled. "How long before you could scale this up?" Peter ran his fingers through his graying hair. "Scale it up. Commander, this is just a preliminary result. We need to study it, understand the principles behind." "Dr. Mason," Lisa interrupted gently, "I understand your scientific caution, but if this technology works the way I think it does, it could revolutionize not just civilian transportation, but military logistics and strategy." "How long?" John tapped his tablet thoughtfully. "With proper funding and resources, maybe 6 months to create a portal large enough for small objects, a year for something person-sized." "You'll have whatever you need," Lisa promised. She pulled out her phone and stepped away to make a call. Over the next few months, the laboratory transformed. New equipment arrived daily. Additional scientists and engineers joined the team. They named it the Quantum Gateway Project, and progress moved faster than anyone expected. Peter worked endless hours, often sleeping on the cot in his office. Each success led to new breakthroughs. They learned to control the portal endpoints with precise accuracy. They discovered ways to maintain stability while increasing the portal size. Most importantly, they found that the energy requirements decreased dramatically once they understood the underlying principles. One evening, as Peter reviewed the day's test results, John burst into his office. "We did it. The mouse made it through." Peter jumped up from his desk. They rushed to the main testing chamber, where Lisa was already waiting. Inside a reinforced glass enclosure, a small white mouse sat contentedly eating a piece of cheese. What made this ordinary scene extraordinary was that 10 seconds ago, this same mouse had been in a different enclosure 50 meters away. "No signs of trauma," one of the medical technicians reported. "Vital signs normal. Behavior normal." The transport was completely successful. Lisa smiled, a rare sight. "Gentlemen, I believe it's time to move to human trials. That's a big step, Peter cautioned. We need more animal trials first, long-term observation. I volunteer, John said firmly. Everyone turned to look at him. I helped build this. I trust our work. And someone has to be first. 2 weeks later, after dozens more successful animal transports, they were ready. John stood in the testing chamber wearing a protective suit covered in sensors. Peter's hand shook slightly as he initiated the startup sequence. Portal forming, he announced, his voice steady despite his nerves. A dark oval shimmer appeared in the air, exactly 2 meters tall and 1 meter wide. Through it, they could see the receiving chamber on the other side of the facility. John took a deep breath. For science, he said with a grin, and stepped forward. The entire room held their breath. One step, and John vanished into the darkness. Less than a heartbeat later, he emerged in the receiving chamber, stumbling slightly. "I'm okay," he called through the intercom. That was amazing. It felt like nothing. Like taking a normal step through a doorway. The room erupted in cheers. Lisa immediately pulled out her phone again, stepping away to make another call. Peter knew that somewhere, high-ranking military officials were receiving news that would change their entire strategic doctrine. Over the next 2 months, they refined the technology further. They learned to create multiple portals simultaneously, to maintain them for longer periods, and to disguise their energy signatures. Lisa brought in military engineers who helped develop more robust and portable versions of the portal generators. The implications are staggering, Lisa said during one of their planning meetings. Instant troop deployment, resupply without vulnerable convoys, evacuation of wounded without risking medical transport. Not to mention civilian applications, Peter added. Emergency response, disaster relief, space exploration. Space, Lisa interrupted, her eyes lighting up. That's where this technology will truly shine. Our ships could move across the solar system without consuming fuel for propulsion. We could establish bases anywhere and support them instantly. John nodded enthusiastically. The engineering challenges in space will be different, but the basic principles should work the same. We'll need to account for relative motion and gravitational differences, but a junior researcher burst into the room. "Dr. Mason, we're picking up some kind of signal. From space. It looks like a transmission, not one of ours." The room fell silent. Peter and Lisa shared a look. First contact with alien life, just as they developed technology that could revolutionize space travel and warfare. The timing couldn't be coincidental. "Tell no one about the portal technology," Lisa said firmly. "As far as anyone outside this facility is concerned, we're doing basic quantum research, nothing more." Peter nodded in agreement. He had a feeling humanity would need every advantage it could get in the coming days. As they hurried to decode the alien transmission, the portal in their test chamber hummed quietly, a doorway to a future none of them could have imagined. In the following days, as the world buzzed with news of possible alien contact, the Quantum Gateway project continued in secret. They worked even harder, knowing that humanity's future might depend on their success. The portal technology was their ace in the hole, and they intended to keep it hidden until the right moment. Little did the approaching alien civilization know that they weren't dealing with a primitive species playing with basic quantum mechanics. They were about to meet a humanity that had mastered the art of walking through space itself, and that would change everything. Ambassador Susan Morgan stood at the window of the newly constructed First Contact Center in Geneva, watching the massive alien ship descend through Earth's atmosphere. The vessel was beautiful in a strange way, all sweeping curves and iridescent surfaces that seemed to change color as it moved. "They're right on schedule," Alan Parker said beside her. As Earth's lead military strategist for the upcoming meetings, he looked calm, but Susan noticed him adjusting his tie for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. "The Galactic Council values punctuality, according to their messages," Susan replied. She smoothed down her dark blue diplomatic suit and checked her translator earpiece. "Dr. Catherine Bell, their chief Sinolinguist, had worked day and night with her team to ensure the translation systems would work perfectly. The alien ship landed with surprising grace for its size. A delegation of 5 beings emerged, each one different from the others. Susan had studied their profiles extensively. The tall, silver-skinned one was from the Zaxthor species, the current head of the Galactic Council. The others represented various member races: the squid-like Norians, the crystalline Vex, the feathered Avari, and the silicon-based Lithoids. "Remember," Alan whispered, "they don't know about the portals. Let's keep it that way." Susan nodded slightly. In the 3 months since first contact, they had managed to keep the Quantum Gateway project completely secret. The facility in Nevada had been disguised as a standard research center, and all portal testing had moved underground or to remote locations. The alien delegation approached. The Zaxthor representative stepped forward, its metallic skin reflecting the morning sunlight. "Greetings, people of Earth," it said through its own translation device. "I am High Counselor Zextal. We welcome you to the greater galactic community." "Welcome to Earth," Susan replied warmly. "I am Ambassador Susan Morgan, and this is Strategic Advisor Alan Parker. We are honored by your presence." The initial meetings went smoothly. The Council representatives shared information about their Federation of Species, their technological achievements, and their system of governance. They seemed impressed by humanity's rapid development and eager to guide Earth's integration into the galactic community. However, things changed during the 3rd day of meetings. The Norian representative, floating in its containment sphere, interrupted a discussion about trade routes. "We have detected unusual energy signatures from various points in your solar system," it said, its tentacles writhing in what Susan had learned was a sign of concern. "Our sensors cannot fully analyze them." Susan kept her expression neutral. "Our species is conducting various scientific experiments as we work to understand our place in the galaxy. We would be happy to discuss any specific concerns." The Zaxthor High Counselor's silver face showed no expression, but its voice carried an edge. "These signatures are unlike anything in our database. They appear and disappear randomly. They could be weapons development. I assure you," Alan said smoothly, "Earth is committed to peaceful development. We are still learning about our own capabilities." The meetings continued, but the atmosphere had changed. Susan noticed more alien ships arriving in orbit. Their sensors constantly scanned Earth and the surrounding space. The Council representatives began asking more pointed questions about Earth's military capabilities and scientific research. In a secure room beneath the first contact center, Susan met with the Earth's Defense Council. Dr. Catherine Bell had just finished reporting on some intercepted alien communications. "They're worried," Catherine said, pushing her glasses up her nose. "They've never encountered energy signatures like our portals before. It challenges their understanding of physics." Alan pulled up a holographic display showing the positions of alien ships around Earth. "They're trying to be subtle about it, but they're moving into strategic positions." Classic containment pattern. "The Council claims to welcome new species," Susan said, "but they're used to being technologically superior. Our portal technology makes them nervous, even though they don't know what it is yet." "Should we reveal it?" Catherine asked. "Maybe if they understood." "No," Alan cut in. "The moment they understand what we can do, they'll either try to take the technology or destroy it. Right now, our best advantage is their uncertainty." Susan agreed. Over the next few weeks, she engaged in a delicate diplomatic dance. She kept the Council representatives busy with discussions about culture, trade, and governance, while Earth quietly continued developing its portal network. One evening, as Susan was reviewing diplomatic reports in her office, Catherine burst in. "Ambassador, you need to see this." She played a decoded alien transmission on the room's display screen. The message was from a Zaxthor military commander to the High Counselor. "The energy signatures are spreading. We've detected them as far as their system's outer planets. The humans claim to lack efficient space travel, Yet these signatures suggest otherwise. They are hiding something significant. Susan immediately called Alan. Within an hour, Earth's key leaders were meeting in a secure bunker. The portal technology had advanced significantly in recent months. They could now create stable portals in space, allowing instant travel between hidden stations throughout the solar system. "They're getting nervous," Alan reported. "More ships are arriving daily. They're positioning for a show of force." "Can we evacuate our off-world facilities if needed?" Susan asked. "Already prepared," Alan assured her. "Every research station and colony has portal evacuation protocols in place. We can empty them in minutes if necessary." The situation came to a head during what was supposed to be a routine meeting. High Counselor Zextal arrived with an unusually large delegation. The other council representatives seemed tense, even the normally unreadable Vex. "Humanity has proven itself to be innovative," Zextal began. "The Council believes it would be in Earth's best interest to accept our direct oversight of your technological development. For your own safety, of course." Susan sat very straight in her chair. "Earth is grateful for the Council's concern, but we are capable of managing our own development." The High Counselor's silver skin rippled, a sign of agitation. "This is not a request, Ambassador Morgan. We have detected potentially dangerous experiments throughout your system. Either you accept our oversight, or we will be forced to contain your species until you show more responsibility." In her earpiece, Susan heard Alan's voice. "Portal network is ready. All stations on standby." She looked at the High Counselor calmly. "The people of Earth value our independence, Counselor Zextal. We hope the Council will respect that." "Independence must be earned," Zextal replied. "Until then, we will do what is necessary to maintain galactic security." As if on cue, the room's holographic display activated, showing hundreds of Council ships emerging from faster-than-light travel around Earth and throughout the solar system. "These ships," Zextal said, "will ensure compliance with Council directives. They carry peacekeepers who will help oversee your development." Susan stood slowly, her heart racing, but her voice steady. "Counselor, humanity hopes to join the galactic community as equals, not subjects. Please reconsider this course of action." "The decision is made," Zextal declared. "The Council has spoken." Susan nodded once, then touched her earpiece. "Understood," she said quietly, though she wasn't speaking to the aliens. "Initiate Protocol Omega." Throughout the solar system, hidden portal stations powered up, ready to demonstrate that humanity was far more capable than the Galactic Council suspected. The real first contact was about to begin, and it would shake the Council's understanding of what humans could do. As alarms began blaring on the alien ships, Susan met the High Counselor's startled gaze. "Perhaps," she said calmly, "we should discuss this as equals." Admiral Richard Hayes stood on the bridge of the U.S. Orion, Earth's newest space destroyer, watching the holographic display of Council ships surrounding Earth. His ship, hidden behind Mars, was invisible to their sensors thanks to the latest stealth technology. "Status report." He called out to Laura Martinez, his intelligence officer. Laura looked up from her console, her dark eyes serious. "The Council fleet now numbers over 500 ships. They're establishing a blockade pattern around all major orbital paths. Their weapons are powered but not armed. They're trying to intimidate us without starting a fight," Richard said. He turned to Dr. Daniel White, who was monitoring the portal systems. "How are our networks holding up?" Daniel's fingers flew over his control panel. "All portal stations are operational and undetected. The Council still can't identify our quantum signatures. We have evacuation routes prepared for every Earth city and space colony." The situation had escalated quickly after Ambassador Morgan's last meeting with the Council. The aliens had expected Earth to bow under pressure. Instead, they found themselves dealing with a humanity that refused to be bullied. In the command center beneath Geneva, Susan Morgan met with Earth's leadership. The room was tense as they reviewed the Council's latest message. They're demanding we shut down all unauthorized technology development, Susan reported. They want oversight of every major research facility on Earth and in space. They're calling it protective guidance. Alan Parker snorted. Protective guidance. They want to keep us under their thumb. They know we have something they don't understand, and it scares them. A new message flashed on the main screen. High Counselor Zextel's silver face appeared, its expression as unreadable as ever. People of Earth, you have 24 hours to accept our terms. After that, we will be forced to take direct action to ensure galactic security. Dr. Catherine Bell, who had been analyzing Council communications, spoke up. They're scared. Their ships keep detecting our portal energy signatures, but they can't figure out what they are. It goes against everything they thought they knew about space travel. Time to show them what we can really do, Laura Martins said over the secure channel from the U.S. Orion. The portal network is ready. We've got ships stationed at every major junction in the solar system. Admiral Hayes nodded. Begin Operation Quantum Shield. All ships, move to assigned positions. Across the solar system, Earth's hidden fleet began to power up. The ships were smaller than the Council vessels, but they had one huge advantage. They didn't need to rely on conventional space travel. In his laboratory in Nevada, Dr. Peter Mason watched the situation unfold on his monitors. The portal technology had come so far in the past months. They could now create stable portals large enough for capital ships, and the energy requirements had been reduced to manageable levels. Portal network is green across the board, John Carter reported. He had been working nonstop to refine the portal controls. All ships report ready for quantum jump. The Council's ultimatum continued to play on all channels. This is your final warning. Submit to Council authority or face the consequences. We do not wish to harm your species, but we will do what is necessary to maintain order. In Geneva, Susan Morgan stood before the emergency session of Earth's United Government. The Council believes they have us trapped, she said. They think their superior numbers and technology give them all the advantages. They're wrong. The vote was unanimous. Earth would not submit. As the deadline approached, tension built throughout the solar system. Council ships tightened their blockade formation. Their sensors swept space constantly, trying to locate Earth's hidden capabilities. Admiral Hayes gave the order. All ships prepare for synchronized portal jump. Operation Quantum Shield begins in 5 minutes. In the Nevada facility, Peter and John initiated the master portal sequence. Portal matrices forming, John announced. Energy signatures masked and stable. Laura Martinez's voice came over the command channel. Council ships are powering up weapons. They're preparing to fire warning shots. Not today, Hayes said firmly. All ships, execute jump on my mark. The Council fleet held position around Earth, their weapons charged. High Counselor Zextal watched from his flagship, waiting for the humans to surrender in the face of overwhelming force. 3 minutes to deadline, Laura reported. In orbit around Jupiter, in the shadows of Mars, hidden in the asteroid belt, and at strategic points throughout the solar system, Earth's ships waited. Each one was connected to the portal network, ready to appear exactly where they needed to be. 2 minutes, Laura counted down. Susan Morgan stood in the Geneva Command Center, watching the tactical display. Send one last message to the Council, she ordered. Tell them this is their last chance to withdraw and negotiate as equals. The Council's response was immediate. Submit or face the consequences. 1 minute, Laura announced. Admiral Hayes straightened his uniform. All ships, prepare for combat maneuvers. Remember your training. We've practiced this hundreds of times. 30 seconds. In the Nevada facility, Peter and John ran final checks on the portal network. All systems nominal, John reported. Ready for mass deployment. 15 seconds. Throughout the solar system, portal generators hummed to life. Dark ovals of space began to form, invisible to Council sensors. 10 seconds. Susan Morgan touched her communications panel. Admiral Hayes, you have permission to proceed. 5 seconds. The Council ships moved into attack position, their weapons fully charged. Execute. In an instant, the entire tactical situation changed. Portals opened throughout the solar system. Earth ships emerged simultaneously, appearing in perfectly coordinated positions. Where the Council had thought they had Earth surrounded, they suddenly found themselves boxed in. The U.S. Orion appeared directly above the Council flagship, its weapons primed but not firing. Other Earth ships emerged at key points throughout the blockade formation, disrupting their carefully planned containment. By the eternal stars, the Norian commander gasped, its tentacles writhing in shock. Impossible, High Counselor Zextal whispered, watching as more human ships appeared through the mysterious dark portals. Admiral Hayes opened a channel to all ships, Council and human alike. This is Admiral Richard Hayes of the Earth Defense Force. As you can see, we are not as helpless as you assumed. We can deploy our forces anywhere in the system, instantly. Your blockade is meaningless. To demonstrate his point, several Earth ships vanished through new portals, reappearing at different positions around the Council fleet. The message was clear. The humans could strike anywhere, at any time. We don't want war, Hayes continued, but we will not submit to intimidation. The choice is yours, Counselor. We can either talk as equals, or we can demonstrate more of our capabilities. In the Geneva Command Center, Susan Morgan watched the Council ships carefully. Their weapons were still powered, but they hadn't fired. The aliens were clearly struggling to understand what they had just witnessed. After what seemed like an eternity, High Counselor Zextal's voice came over the channel. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach to Earth's admission to the galactic community. Susan smiled. Phase 1 of humanity's introduction to the galaxy was complete. Now came the hard part, establishing a new relationship with the Council based on mutual respect rather than fear. As Earth ships maintained their positions through the portal network, the balance of power in the solar system had shifted dramatically. The Council had arrived expecting to find a primitive species they could control. Instead, they found humanity had mastered an aspect of space travel they had never imagined possible. The ultimatum had failed. Now, a new chapter in galactic history was about to begin. Captain Elizabeth Stone stood at the helm of the U.S. Artemis, Earth's most advanced portal-capable warship. Her crew worked quietly at their stations as they prepared for the most important military demonstration in human history. Portal coordinates locked, Paul Turner announced from the network control station. His fingers danced across the holographic controls as he fine-tuned their position. All battle group ships report ready. Dr. Mary Adams looked up from her defense systems console. Shield harmonics are synchronized with portal frequencies. We can transition between normal shields and portal operations instantly. The Council had requested this demonstration after the events in Earth's solar system. They wanted to understand exactly what they were dealing with. Earth's leadership had agreed, but they would reveal only what they wanted the Council to see. Status report on our observers, Elizabeth asked, watching the Council diplomatic vessel that hung in space before them. 8 Council representatives on board, Paul reported. 2 each from the Zaxthor and Norians, 1 each from the Vex, Avari, and Lithoids. Plus 1 we haven't seen before, apparently from a species called the Quantum Architects. Elizabeth nodded. The presence of a quantum architect was interesting. According to Council records, they were recluses who rarely left their home systems. The portal technology must have really gotten their attention. All ships, this is Captain Stone, she announced over the battle group channel. Remember your positions and timing. Let's show them what humanity can do. The demonstration area had been set up in a remote star system, far from any inhabited worlds. Several Council ships formed a perimeter, their sensors ready to record everything. Beginning demonstration phase 1. Elizabeth announced to both her crew and the Council observers. Single ship portal transit. She nodded to Paul, who activated the first portal sequence. A dark oval opened in space ahead of the Artemis, its edges shimming with barely contained energy. Pay attention to your sensor readings, Elizabeth told the council observers. This is a basic portal transit. The Artemis moved forward smoothly, entering the portal. In less than a heartbeat, they emerged 10 light minutes away, exactly between two gas giants on the system's outer edge. Transit complete, Paul reported. Portal stability at 100%. The council observers' ship erupted with chatter. Their sensors had recorded everything, but they still couldn't understand how it worked. The quantum architect representatives seemed particularly agitated. Phase 2, Elizabeth announced. Multiple ship coordination. This time, 5 portals opened simultaneously. The Artemis and 4 other ships from her battle group entered the portals in perfect synchronization. They emerged in a star pattern around the council observation vessel, their positions precise to the meter. Impossible, one of the Zaxthor observers muttered over the open channel. The power requirements alone should be. Phase 3, Elizabeth continued, allowing herself a small smile. Combat maneuver demonstration. This was the part she knew would really get their attention. At her signal, the battle group began a complex series of portal jumps. Ships vanished and reappeared in rapid succession, each time in perfect firing position relative to their targets. The council observers watched in stunned silence as Earth ships performed maneuvers that defied conventional space combat doctrine. There was no need for long attack runs or complex vectoring when you could simply appear where you needed to be. Now for the final, Elizabeth said. Phase 4, mass deployment. Paul's hands flew over his controls. Portal network activating. All ships report ready. This time, 30 portals opened simultaneously throughout the star system. Earth ships emerged from each one, forming a massive 3-dimensional grid. Then, before the council observers could process what they were seeing, all 30 ships vanished again, reappearing in a completely different formation. By the eternal void, the quantum architect whispered. They've mastered instant spatial translation. The energy matrix, the quantum harmonics. It's beautiful. Dr. Mary Adams monitored the council ship's sensor attempts carefully. They're trying to analyze our portal signatures, Captain. Should we adjust our masking? No, Elizabeth replied. Let them see what we want them to see. The real technology is still hidden. The demonstration continued for another hour. They showed the council observers how Earth ships could use portals for more than just movement. They could redirect energy weapons, create sensor shadows, and even use them for advanced scanning of distant locations. What they didn't show was even more important. They kept secret their ability to create permanent portal networks, their advanced stealth portal technology, and their planetary defense systems that could open portals to redirect incoming attacks into deep space. Finally, Elizabeth brought the Artemis alongside the Council observation vessel. This concludes our demonstration, she announced. We trust this has helped you understand humanity's capabilities. The quantum architects spoke up. Captain Stone, your species has achieved something remarkable. The Council's records show no civilization ever developing this type of technology. How did you manage it? Elizabeth smiled diplomatically. Human ingenuity, mostly. We look at problems differently than most species seem to. Back on Earth, the footage from the demonstration was being reviewed by military and civilian leaders. Admiral Hayes watched with satisfaction as the Council observers tried to make sense of what they had seen. They're beginning to understand, he told his staff. We're not just some primitive species they can push around. We've developed something they never even thought possible. In the Nevada facility, Dr. Peter Mason and John Carter watched the sensor readings from the demonstration. They had come so far from that first tiny portal in their lab. They still don't understand half of what we can do, John said, reviewing the data. Their sensors missed the quantum harmonics completely. They don't realize we can create stable, permanent networks. Peter nodded. Sometimes the best defense is letting your potential opponents think they understand your capabilities, while keeping your real advantages hidden. The Council observation vessel prepared to return to their space. Before they left, The quantum architect transmitted one final message. Humanity has proven itself to be unprecedented. The Council will need to reconsider many of its assumptions. Elizabeth watched them leave, then turned to her crew. Well done, everyone. Let's head home. As the Artemis prepared its portal for the return journey, she reflected on how much had changed. In just a few months, humanity had gone from being seen as a primitive species to one that had mastered technology the Council hadn't thought possible. Portal coordinates set for Earth, Paul announced. Ready when you are, Captain. Take us home, Elizabeth ordered. The Artemis vanished into the dark portal, leaving behind a star system that had witnessed the beginning of a new era in galactic politics. The Council had come expecting to study a curiosity. They left understanding that everything had changed. Humanity had demonstrated not just their technology, but their ability to think beyond conventional limitations. They had shown the Council that there were still things in the galaxy that could surprise them. As her ship emerged from the portal near Earth, Elizabeth knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge would be managing humanity's new role in the galactic community. But for now, they had made their point. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Director William Baker sat in his office at Earth Defense Force headquarters, reviewing reports from across the galaxy. 6 months had passed since the portal technology demonstration, and the political landscape had changed dramatically. Another request for assistance, Linda Collins said, walking into his office with a data tablet. As Earth's new chief diplomatic officer, she had been busy managing relations with various alien species. The Centauri Alliance is asking for help protecting their trade routes from pirates. William leaned back in his chair. What's the Council's position on this? Officially neutral, Linda replied, sitting down across from him. Unofficially, they're watching how we handle these requests very carefully. The situation had evolved in ways no one had expected. After the demonstration, many smaller species had begun approaching Earth directly, seeking protection or assistance. Humanity's portal technology had changed the balance of power throughout known space. In his research facility, Dr. Samuel Green, the new director of portal research, was conducting experiments with the latest version of the technology. The original team, including Peter Mason and John Carter, had trained dozens of new scientists and engineers. Portal network expansion is proceeding ahead of schedule, Samuel reported during the daily briefing. We can now maintain stable connections across distances of up to 500 light-years. William nodded approvingly, and the Council's attempts to replicate our technology. Still unsuccessful, Samuel said with a slight smile. They understand some basic principles now, but they're missing crucial elements. The quantum architects are particularly frustrated. The mention of the quantum architects made William think. The reclusive species had been studying Earth's portal technology intensively, but they had also shared some of their own insights. The exchange of ideas had led to improvements on both sides. An alert flashed on William's screen. Linda, look at this. The Zaxthor are mobilizing a fleet near the Orion cluster. Linda quickly pulled up the report. They claim it's just a training exercise. But, she frowned, the Orion cluster is home to several species that recently signed protection agreements with Earth. They're testing us, William realized, seeing how we'll respond to a threat against our allies. He called an emergency meeting of the Earth Defense Council. Within an hour, the key leaders had gathered in the secure conference room. Admiral Hayes joined via hologram from his flagship. We need to respond, the Admiral said, but carefully. We don't want to start a war. Linda nodded in agreement. The Council is still adjusting to the new reality. Some species, like the quantum architects and Norians, are embracing change. Others, especially the Zaxthor, are resisting. Then let's show them why resistance is pointless, William decided. Admiral, implement Operation Guardian Shield. Over the next few hours, Earth ships quietly moved into position using the portal network. They appeared near every planet in the Orion cluster, establishing a protective presence without direct confrontation. When the Zaxthor fleet arrived, they found Earth vessels already in position. More importantly, they detected portal signatures throughout the region, suggesting Earth could deploy even more ships at a moment's notice. The Zaxthor commander opened a channel. "This is a council training exercise. Your presence is unnecessary." Admiral Hayes responded calmly. "We're here at the request of our allies. They asked for protection, and we're providing it. Perhaps we could turn this into a joint exercise, share some techniques." The subtle message was clear. Humanity wasn't looking for a fight, but they wouldn't back down either. After several tense hours, the Zaxthor fleet withdrew. Back on Earth, Samuel Green made an exciting announcement during the next briefing. "We've made a breakthrough in portal stability," he said, displaying complex diagrams. "We can now create permanent portal stations that require minimal power to maintain." "How many stations are we talking about?" William asked. "With our current resources, we could establish a network of about 500 stations within the next year. They would allow instant travel between any 2 points in known space." Linda's eyes widened. "The diplomatic implications are enormous. We could revolutionize trade, cultural exchange, disaster response, and defense," William added. "Any species under our protection would have access to instant evacuation if needed." The news spread quickly through diplomatic channels. More species began approaching Earth, not just for protection, but for trade agreements and cultural exchanges. The portal technology had made Earth a key player in galactic politics. Even the Council had to adapt. During a special session, they officially recognized Earth as a major power, a designation previously reserved for species that had been part of galactic civilization for thousands of years. High Counselor Zextal, who had once threatened to contain humanity, now spoke differently. "The humans have shown us that advancement can come in unexpected forms. Their portal technology has changed our understanding of what is possible." The quantum architects went further. They proposed a joint research initiative with Earth, combining their ancient knowledge with humanity's innovative approach. Other species soon joined the project, creating the first truly collaborative galactic research effort. William stood at his office window, looking out at the busy spaceport below. Earth ships now carried representatives from dozens of species. Portal stations allowed beings from across the galaxy to visit Earth easily, turning the once isolated planet into a hub of galactic activity. Linda joined him at the window. "The Centauri Alliance signed a protection agreement," she reported. "That makes 23 species now under Earth's defensive umbrella." And the Council. They're adjusting. The Zaxthor are still uncomfortable, but they're learning to work with us. The other Council species are more interested in cooperation than confrontation. Samuel Green's next report brought even more promising news. The joint research with the quantum architects had led to improvements in portal efficiency. They could now create smaller, more stable portals using less energy. "We're not just changing how species travel through space," Samuel explained. "We're changing how they think about space itself. The old limitations don't apply anymore." The changes weren't just technological. Cultural exchange flourished as species that had never been able to visit each other's worlds could now do so easily. Trade routes that once took months to travel could be crossed in seconds. William received a message from the Council. They were proposing a new galactic security framework, with Earth playing a major role. The portal network would become part of the galaxy's emergency response system, allowing rapid deployment of aid wherever it was needed. "It's remarkable how much has changed," Linda said, reviewing the proposal. 6 months ago, they wanted to contain us. Now they're asking for our help in protecting the galaxy. "Humans have always been good at adapting," William replied. "Now we're helping the entire galaxy adapt to new possibilities." The portal network continued to grow, connecting more worlds and species. Earth ships maintained their protective presence throughout known space, but they rarely needed to demonstrate their power. The mere knowledge of what they could do was usually enough to prevent conflicts. Samuel Green's team, working with scientists from across the galaxy, continued to push the boundaries of portal technology. Each breakthrough brought new opportunities and challenges. "We're not just building a transportation network," Samuel told William during their final briefing of the day. "We're building a connected galaxy, one where distance doesn't have to mean separation." As William prepared to leave his office that evening, he received one last report. A new species had made first contact with the Council, and their first request was to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. "Send them a welcome message," he told Linda. "Let them know that in this galaxy, they don't have to face the future alone." The age of isolation was over. Humanity had not only secured its place among the stars, but had helped create a new way for species to interact and cooperate. The portal technology had started as a defensive measure, but it had become something much more, a bridge between worlds, cultures, and possibilities. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped for.